All right, recording has started. Uh, Hi, my name's Young Woo. I'm a rising college freshman majoring in business administration and with the concentration of quantitative finance. And I recently started social media to market my company that I just started with all my friends. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's only been like a little less than a month of starting. So yeah, can you
Cool.
start by introducing yourself, your name, what you do, a little bit about your story and how you got to where you're today and like what you aspire to be.
Yeah, cool. I'll try to remember all parts of the question. But yeah, my name is Nick. I am right now focused on content creation at the moment. I was actually a little bit of a story. I was let go, like being laid off earlier this year. So I was a product designer for the last 5 years, and then I was actually in a completely different field in my first career. I spent 6 years as a youth worker, so working in the nonprofit sector. Then basically, it was around the pandemic. That's when I made the pivot to tech, into a product designer. So that's kind of how my career kind of projected. And yeah, right now, really focused on the content creation aspect while I still, in the meantime, looking for a job. So yeah, so this is kind of like my full-time thing, doing content right now. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's cool. Let's get straight into the questions then. So I saw on your videos that you juggle a lot of different roles, and as you just said, right, you've done product design. You said on your bio that you're a youth worker
Yep.
and a content creator now. Is there like a common thread that connects all these passions for you, or like you just did what came up?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. For me, it's important to always find my why. So every career I had, um, there was a strong why behind it. So in the beginning, I was being a youth worker. I think that was for me. I was really passionate about like people development, like reaching your potential, kind of like that self-discovery kind of idea. So that's kind of how I got into being a youth worker. Then transitioning into product design. Uh, Firstly was I wanted to growth, right? So I mentioned about the kind of people development. I want to develop myself as well. So I think being a product designer and in tech, I think there's a lot of room for growth. And that was one major reason. And also obviously the more realistic stuff is like the income that you can get. Because in nonprofit versus like working in tech, it's a huge jump in terms of like salary and how much you can actually grow in the industry, I would say. And right now, content creation, I think what kind of led into it is for me in each of the career I've had, it was important to me to create value for others, create an impact for others. And I think as a youth worker, you have that direct kind of one-on-one or even like one, like it's a very direct human oh, connection.
Oh,
Sorry, my camera is blurred out, right?
yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna switch cameras. Give me 1 second.
Hmm.
Wait, hold on. That's not the camera. All right, is this better? Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
The angles might not be the best. Um, but sorry, where was I? The people development aspect. Yes. So for me, it was about like creating value for other people, creating impact for other people. So as a youth worker, I think you have more like that face time with people. So I think the impact is more direct. I had to kind of overcome that mindset when I kind of pivoted careers as a product designer because now my impact is through a software that I design for other people. So I think kind of changing that mindset, but that it's that same kind of you want to provide value for other people. And now in content creation, I think I am still kind of in the, I would say the tutorial phase in content creation, but it is still that same kind of reason of why I wanted to step into content for creating the impact in a different platform, in a more, and I think it can target a lot more of like an audience if I continue to be consistent on this platform and post what I think is valuable for other people. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, because what I personally noticed with a lot of the content creators I've met uh for the past and also the ones that reached out, a lot of them are like how do I put it? Like more creative aspect of a person.
Mhm.
Product design requires creativity and like being a youth worker involves like, working with humans and communications and stuff like that and
Yeah.
relationships. It's like a lot of the people who are in like the math or STEMmy side of life don't really do content creation is what I kind of noticed. It's kind of
Oh,
yeah, because I grew up all through high school. I thought I was gonna be a STEM major and I only did math and like CS and stuff like that. So
okay.
I never imagined myself I would ever create content because I wasn't exactly
Oh,
a creative person. And then because I jumped into this content creation world and everyone's so creative and have their own
right.
thing going on. So I thought this is like a new thing I'd try. So
Um, Maybe I can add on to that, or I just like bounce off ideas, to be honest. Like, I think for even for me, when started content creation in the beginning, I think for someone who seemingly is more on the creative side or more on like the human connection side, I think one thing that I've noticed within myself is it I feel like it takes more courage and you have to kind of overcome that fear of like being seen on like especially like when it's content like you don't know how many people will be looking at your videos, right? So I think overcoming that fear is tougher in a way versus like when I see there are people like I know there are creators who might be from like an engineering background or like a business background. um I feel like they have a more systematic way to approach it. So like it might be easier to even get started, at least in my opinion. Yeah. Versus someone like it's more like feeling driven, more like people oriented. It's like, oh, you're scared of like what people would think about you, maybe being judged and things like that. So I think there's like the pros and cons of like different personalities or different background people starting content. Yeah.
well, yeah, I agree. Because when I first started, it's like when you hear your voice on video, it's not the same as how you hear it.
Yeah.
So that sounds different. And then when you look at
Yeah.
your expressions and like the things you say, you're like, that does not feel right. And then I made like hundreds of the same videos until like, okay, this one's all right. I'll go with this, right? But then
Yeah.
now it's just like you take like three shots and you're like, okay, we'll go with this, right?
Right.
It's like you care less about how other people view you as much, and you just state your opinions, however it is like. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's part of the journey, I think.
Yeah. So, next question with, um, yeah, how do you avoid burnout and, like protect your energy from all the, creative and demanding outlets?
This is a tough question. I feel like it comes and goes. And to me, I know it might sound a little bit cliche, but being reminded why you're doing it in the first place is very important. Um, and at the same time, I don't know if this is also something like counterintuitive, but like when you start something, you want to have results. Like you want to achieve your goals, right? But I think part of being burnt out is sometimes you look at the results and outcomes so much that you forgot why you started at the first place. And I think that's to me is a key of a person continuing to do what they do versus someone who might just start it, feel very overwhelmed, and then all of a sudden stop doing it because they have burned out from like not achieving the results they desire for, they're looking for. Um, so I think, yeah, remembering the why as well as like even setting realistic expectations of you being in that game. Yeah, because things really take time. So that's kind of like how I see it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I haven't done it long enough to, forget why I started, I think, but I think over time I might forget, so that's good. Good thing to
Yeah.
remember. All right. So with your experience with being a product designer, I think a lot of people want to break into product design, I've noticed.
Mhm.
Currently, what is like the biggest mental hurdle you had to overcome when when you made that career shift?
Okay, yeah. I think for me, one thing that I did was I kept telling myself that I'm a designer, I'm a designer, I'm a designer. So I actually never did any like design classes back in like high school. And in university, I was studying like for social work, right? So I really don't have anything related to like a typical design education. I took a design boot camp, like a UX design boot camp. I think that was like kind of one of the very common paths people took during that pandemic era, like the 2020, 2021 era. Um, and during the boot camp area, the phase for me, I not only did I do all like the courses and stuff, I think I just kept telling myself that I'm a designer. And I think that identity shift is very important for stepping into whether it's product design or whether it's a new career. Um, yeah, it's like you don't want to be labeled, but at the same time, I think these are the type of labels you want to put on yourself so that you can become that person you want to become or get into that career you want to get into. Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's those are good words. All right. How did being a product designer change the way you look at everyday things, like whether it's an app you're using or the layout of an airport?
Mm, I think I would say I notice a lot more in terms of the friction I have when I interact with an app or even at the airport. You know how sometimes like it tells you a certain gate number and then all of a sudden that gate number disappears because they somehow moved it to the other wing. So I think I would notice a lot more of these like friction points that I experience. And even like some apps, like I would download new apps and I would notice like how do I even navigate this? So I think being a product designer gave me a different lens to look at the way I interact with even people, with places, with a digital product, and all of that. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, because I've not looked at it like that, but do you think that's beneficial or not, that you can look at it in a different lens?
Um, if it's beneficial to look at it at a different lens, I definitely think so in a way because we all have our own like perspectives, right? I know sometimes the frictions are very subjective, um, but I think that's what makes it unique for someone with like a product design lens. And whether you're building something or kind of going through like whether it's like a personal development journey or maybe shifting careers, I think being able to notice the friction, the inconvenience kind of allows you to take a step back and see like, oh, so if I were to have a similar experience in the future, how can I make this better? Even for myself. Yeah. Just I think that builds up like that understanding of people and places. And in that way, you also kind of build up that empathy for different for people. Yeah.
All right, yeah. What is a hard truth about working in the tech slash, design industry that people don't talk enough about, you think?
That one I actually had to think about. Um, I don't know if it's talked enough already, but I think being able to see things from a different lens is important. So as a product designer, I think just by the title, obviously you're trying to come up with the best experience, the user experience, right? But I think it's also equally important to understand from like a product POV or even an engineering POV. I think you don't need to know the ins and outs, but at least you have a good bar to sort of understand where they're coming from. Because from like a product perspective, they obviously you're thinking more business. So as a designer working in tech, obviously all the softwares, all the apps you're building, you're trying to generate some revenue. And being to able to see that is very important. And that could influence the way I approach how I design a particular workflow in the software in the app. And likewise for the engineering side of things, like there's a lot of I think the more I got into this career, the more I realized there's so much that happens at the back that engineers kind of help you solve without you thinking about it, especially when I was just starting out. Like in terms of feasibility, in terms of like implementation, there's a lot that's going on that you really don't think about as a designer. So I think just overall, designer or people working in tech to have a more holistic kind of perspectives that will really help the outcome of a project and to really achieve that goal. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's not like a one man, it's not like a solo project. Like you're always collaborating. So I think, yeah, having the holistic view is important.
Holistic view. Okay. Yeah. So not focus too much on one. You think it should be you should know in general a lot of other aspects too.
Yeah, like I think it's okay to even be like a little nosy. Even like in tech, there's a lot of departments. Like sometimes you might meet with like a product marketing person. They might like because you're working on a particular kind of projects, you may know the ins and outs, but for someone who's marketing it, they may have their perspective in terms of like, so how does this actually work? How do we sell that? So if like when you're building out a certain feature or workflow, if it doesn't make sense to even like the product marketers on your team, then you kind of need to really think about is this actually something that is providing like a good user experience? Is that like intuitive enough? Is that valuable to like the customer? So I think there's a lot of like different stakeholders within a one project that you really just need to understand from their perspective as well. Not to like say, not trying to say like, oh, say yes to every request, but like understand from enough from their perspective. So when you're doing your work, you're trying to be a good sport about it. And really at the end of the day, think about the ultimate goal of what you're trying to deliver. I think that's most important. So that holistic view, I think, really covers all that.
Yeah, okay. As a product designer, how do you see AI tools changing the way we design apps and user experiences over the next 5 years?
Honestly, I even feel like 5 years is a long time nowadays. Just simply because I feel like AI over the last 12 months had like literally exploded. So who knows what happens in the next 12 months. So but I think in terms of like AI, um, I think I'm seeing a lot more where designers aren't working in the design software anymore. So I think again, 2020, 2021, I think Figma was the software that all designers pretty much adopted in terms from like a tech industry. And I feel like now we're literally typing in prompts, creating the prototypes off of like an AI platform. Uh, yeah, so I think it will really shift the way designers design work. Um, and I think there's a differentiator now because AI has so much data. I think it becomes more important to for designers or even companies to develop a certain taste, a certain branding, as well as like building that trust with the users, with the people who are using it. I think those three things are going to be super important for tech or for designers in the tech space.
Okay, because I asked this question because if you look at like Claude Code, for example, it's extremely, extremely good with backend that I think it does most things that a software engineer can do in aspects of that. But when
Mhm.
you look at like the design aspects of what these AI models can do, it's like less good, I've noticed, because maybe it's like missing the human aspect of creativity or something. Like even because even though people use Figma and like Google Stitch is like the other thing I think, and there's like a
Yeah,
couple of other
sure.
AI models, but like it still feels a little different from when a human creates it still, right? And like, but like for back end of an app, there doesn't need a human creativity aspect of it, just needs to work. So I just thought, like, do you think AI can completely replace it or the aspect of product design or not?
Mm, I think it would depend on where that company wants to head towards. Like, um, and what they're really focused on, right? So I'm really just thinking out loud here. So like if any company wants to go to market quickly, then I think using AI, generating quickest MVP, that makes total sense, right? Because you want to see if this product, if there's a market fit, right, for your product. And just to really, and hopefully by then you probably had already validated the problem space. So, um, so I think in a way, AI will replace the ideation portion for sure. I think so. I feel like designers don't even need to brainstorm too much now. I think it's the details. It's the brand. Again, I think I mentioned the branding aspect of the company. That's important. And through all that to build that trust. I think the trust aspect is not probably not talked enough about. And I think that really comes down to I mentioned that taste, the branding of it, how you interact with the app. If someone feels like, oh, this is like another AI cookie cutter kind of prototype, or like it's just purely made by I feel like people would kind of lose trust in what that product can do or cannot do. So I think it really comes down to yeah, where what the company is trying to achieve and given the timeline. Like there's a lot of, I think, different variables into it, but that's kind of how I think. And so, yeah, back to the design. I think having good design, having good aesthetics that can also build trust and a good branding will definitely make one stand out from another. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. Yeah. Uh, what initially made you want to pick up a camera and start putting your travels and life out there on Instagram?
Um, I really love watching vlogs. So that's kind of the starting point for me, watching other people's vlog. I actually, there was one, or there is still one that I really enjoy watching, which is Daniel Dalen. I don't know if you've heard of him, but it's yeah, he's a founder. He's a Dutch living in Hong Kong and speaks Chinese. And yeah, love his vlog because he's an entrepreneur. So he showcases a lot of like what kind of goes behind the scenes for his business. And in general, I also love just watching travel vlogs, but there's something special about like Daniel Dan's vlogs or even like a George Heaton vlog because it really goes into kind of how they operate their business. And I think that's really cool. Uh, and yeah, so because my love for vlogs, I thought, why not I document my life? And I think it's also for me to kind of see how much I have grow over the year. Because I think that aspect is important. And vlogging, documenting, picking up the camera is the best way to do it. Yeah. Like sometimes I feel like camera, like just taking a photo helps you remember it. But I think watching the videos kind of allows me to remember the little interactions I have with other people or even like the thoughts that I might have in that particular moment. Yeah.
And what does the next chapter look like for you? Either professionally or creatively, whatever it is.
Yeah. Definitely betting on content creation at the moment. So I think for me is trying to understand the way I see content creation is I think it's another form of entrepreneurship in a way. So that's kind of how I'm approaching this whole content creation game, not just simply um for the document part, but also can I make this like can I make a living out of this too? I think that's kind of what I am betting on and I am experimenting with because for me being laid off and I've experienced it multiple times now, especially in tech. So I don't believe in just having a 9 to 5 anymore. Yeah. I think the more I experience the the industry, the more I think about, yeah, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So like don't rely on your income source based on one job. So this might be for me to, yeah, explore, experiment. I'm not saying no to like a product design role in the future or working in tech again, but yeah, you just want to have options, right, in life. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Um, Before I move on to the last question, do you have any questions for me, or concerns or comments or anything?
Yeah, yeah, I guess kind of like where you and your team is trying to take your startup right now.
Well, it started with just me initially. It was actually a learning platform in the beginning for helping study. So as a student myself,
Mhm.
it's like one of the only things that I do study as a student. So
Yeah.
I was like, maybe if there's tools that can help me study better. It started with that, but we pivoted to a new idea to a health app. It has the
Mhm.
same idea behind a planning app, but now it's instead of a study planning app, it's more of a health planning app now. But after that, two of my friends from my same high school have wanted to join in, so they joined in and we all manage different parts of the company now, right? And it was just the three of us until I think like a week ago. Two more people reached out to me from online from watching these videos, and one of them is our like I mean video editor now. I don't have to spend hours editing anymore. And then the other guy is really, really good at coding. So because it was actually hard, I had to like learn how to code all these things by myself and learn.
Yeah.
Doing it by myself was pretty difficult, but now that I have a more competent a programmer in the team, I think the speed of making the actual app is increasing. So I think that's and one of my other friends is a finance major, so he manages all the financial aspects of the company. And then we have one that manages all the legal aspects of the company as well. So right now it's a five-person team, but
Cool.
our goal is to launch it in about 3 to 4 months from now and see where it goes. Yeah.
Mm. Is that going to be, it's going to be a mobile app, like a phone app?
Yeah, it's gonna be a mobile app, but we are gonna sync it with the website, is what my initial idea was. Because some
Mm.
people like recording to their computers, but some people prefer, tracking it to their phone every day, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
that's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah. So you guys are like meeting regularly from, or I guess from now till the launch?
Yeah, we have weekly meetings for the team meetings, but
Wow.
uh, I communicate with them basically every day. Just through text. Usually,
Hmm.
like, hey, I want you to do this by, 3 days from now, or like, can you do this or this? And then like, usually in the meetings, it's more like we meet up because I've never met a company before, but it our meetings kind of changed. It initially started with us like discussing ideas and like how this company can go, and like
Hmm.
with the content creation too, like ideas of like what type of videos we need to make, or like
Yeah,
how should we go about doing all these things. But
right.
it's switched now a little bit. I switched it up a little. Instead of that, now it's more like everyone comes up with a certain uh task done, so they all present to me their findings. Like one
Mm.
of my the finance guy will come up with a financial report, present it to me on their findings, and like the my coder now will be coming up with like the newest updates and debugs, whatever it is, that present it to me. So
Yeah.
it started with me leading the meetings now, but now I want them to lead the meetings so that I can
Hmm.
listen to them and then, talk back about it and critique it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
cool.
I think it's in progress.
Nice, nice. Do you guys work like in like a sprint environment as well, or it's kind of like a not really, just whatever comes to mind for each member?
Um, well, first of all, we all live in different states and countries.
Oh,
So we are in like at 4 different time zones.
oh wow, okay.
Hard to find the specific time and stuff because like people reached out from different places that like never met
Yeah.
before. So I mean, we all
Hmm.
speak English,
Right.
so that's good at least. But yeah, we just like right now it's just like we go and do whatever we can at the moment, whatever comes to our mind.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Trying to become more structured, but I mean, it just started, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, so there's only 5 minutes left on this free version.
Oh, true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll jump to the last question.
Sure.
Imagine every person in the world is watching this right now. What is the one piece of advice or message you would give to them?
Ooh, one message. It's wow, that's a tough question. Yeah. I will try to pack a few things, but I think it's important to remember why you started. I know it's back to that why question. So I think remember your why of starting is important. Through knowing your why, just really put in the hard work. There's really no shortcuts for achieving the goal you want. And at the same time, really just enjoy the process. Don't be so fed up with yourself. Be kind to yourself because everyone starts somewhere, right? So I think, yeah, just enjoy the process and work hard for. why you started.
All right, thank you. That is the end of the podcast. Thank you everyone for watching. And yeah.
Sweet.